Hello everybody, how you doing? Hope you're all doing well. I wanted to do a video talking about the wake-up process, or my wake-up process, and maybe you can leave a comment of what it was that made you wake up, or how long you've been awake to what's really going on. Whether it's something that triggered you, or whether it was progression of different things that happened. I thought it might be interesting for me to read about how some of you guys woke up to what's going on, and maybe some people can read other people's comments, and I thought it would be interesting. So I'll tell you about myself. I was talking to my brother. It was 9/11 was kind of like when I really started to wake up. A little bit of vino for the heart, and we both agreed that didn't seem right, and we both started waking up at that point, my brother and I. And he's been in the military for 18 years. I interviewed him 6 months ago or so, which was a good interview about martial law, if you haven't seen that. But anyhow, so we both kind of woke up then, and then in 03, 04, I read a book about the coming housing collapse and how to profit from the coming housing bust. And it sort of opened up my eyes to what's happening here in the housing market. Most people thought housing just was something that just went up forever. 75 years, there's never a losing year, and that's just things go up forever. Well, they learned that that's not true. And then there was the bubble economy, I think it was called. An 06 book I read that talked a lot about the financial situation of the United States. That was 6 years ago. And then Peter Schiff's book just kind of thrusted me forward and kind of putting things together that I had been reading and laid everything out. And then what he talked about, he wrote it in end of 06, I believe, or in 06, came out in 07. And then in 08, and everything just, Fannie and Freddie went bust, and everything was just happening like he laid it out in the book. So that's and a couple of years later I started this channel, but it was it was a process for me, and I'm sure for a lot of you, maybe some of you have been awake to what's going on for 20 years. I don't know. Maybe just I had one guy email me the end of last year saying, you're the first one to wake me up to what's really going on. So that felt really good to have someone say that to me. That felt real good. Just to know that just one person woke up just from these videos. It's a good feeling. Because I talk to people all day long, and they just think, well, I'll be putting up a video of after this of my son and him talking to some school ground chums, and he tells them gold and silver is money, and they're like, huh? And what's this crazy kid talking about? So anyway, so that's sort of the process for me. It's been, an 11-year process. But I've always been into ancient history and other things like that. I read the Bible from cover to cover a couple of years ago, and that was an experience. A lot of it just went like this. There's a lot of words I didn't understand. It was the King James Version, but I was friends with a Mormon guy at work. We used to talk on breaks and stuff, and he said he read the Bible from cover to cover twice. And so I thought it'd be interesting to do it myself. And so it took me 13 months, and I did it, and I'm very happy I did. I don't know if I'll do it again. It's about this size, the King James Version, but it's real tiny print, and that's some tough reading. It's 1,100 something pages, but anyway, I stuck to it, and I got, it was the greatest story ever told. It's been called, and it's incredible history. It's just a great book to read. A lot of the stories I had heard as a child and stuff, and then reading about them, it was just a really good experience. I recommend it to anybody, even if you're not a Christian or whatever. It's just got a lot of history in it. It's like a history book. So right now, I did a video of books that I'm reading, but right now I'm reading History of the Federal Reserve, Secrets of the Federal Reserve by Eustace Mullins. And I've been researching him a lot, There's people that come out against him saying he's anti-Semitic and this and that, and because if he's talking about what's really happening and how, I'm not going to get into the whole thing, but if what he says is true, then people who've been told a certain story about the concentration camps and Hitler and everything that was going on, most people don't hear about Hitler being funded by Warburg and Oppenheimer, who were Jewish. And the whole Jewish Zionist thing and the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds, the Red Shield, the whole thing. I mean, I look at all this stuff. I don't always talk about it. I stick mainly to the economics. But I do look at a lot of stuff. Sumerians, the Greeks, ancient history I told you I'm a fan of, the ancient astronaut theories, everything. I look at a lot of stuff. And so I'm grabbing from different angles. Eustace Mullins also wrote the Curse of Canaan. I mean, that takes us all the way back to creation. And it takes, everything's connected. It's really incredible when you get going on all this stuff. Excuse me for a minute. I need a new camera, so this one keeps stopping on me. I was so pissed off. I recorded some for 10 minutes, and I turned around and recorded 29 seconds. I was like, ugh. But anyway, I have to get a new camera here soon. So I just really like everyone to leave a comment of the wake-up process for you. And, I kind of would like to take this channel into some other areas. I try to stick to the economics, but I have a lot of interest. So I've done some other videos. Some of them were well received. I've been thinking of starting another channel. I don't know if that's something I want to do. I like to just have it all here. Everything's connected, like I said. Eustace Mullins also wrote Murder by Injection. The whole, how like a chiropractor can't even walk through the hospital, and just, there's certain things like natural remedies. I mean, they've just totally gone away from that, and I don't even think you can become accredited if you're just like a natural remedy. I'm going way out on a tangent here because I also into a land that I'm not well versed in, but I mean, I do look at the stuff. I mean, I know there's a lot going on in the medical field, and there's pushing pills. But anyhow, and then you got the whole educational system. Robert Kiyosaki wrote a great book talking about that. That was infiltrated 100 years ago. And how people aren't taught, the way that they're taught. It's just the whole wool being pulled over everyone's eyes. And how most people, nothing operates the way they think it does. There's like this whole reality going on with the banksters running the world. Bear in mind, I have a whole lot of other interests just besides the economics. I mean, here's secret societies, from the Knights Templar to the Skull and Bones. I mean, I'm well versed on all of this information. I have my dad and grandfather my dad's a Mason and my grandfather's a Mason, master of the lodge. And when I started getting into all this stuff, there's a whole bunch of negative stuff about Masons, and I've heard Michael Tessarian and Jordan Maxwell, who talk a lot about the Masonic order. Eustace Mullins does as well, but they say that your average Mason at your Blue Lodge, he's a good guy. They're good people. They're not. You can't just say, "Oh, you're a Mason, you're evil." I mean, that's not true. I don't think of my father as being a devil worshiper. It's just not. There's levels. Okay, he's gotten into some other stuff, some other branch offs of the shrine. He's gotten into these other branches to where there's knowledge up here that he may not be privy to. So there is things going up here, and this is something that he was pushed into as a kid. So, but I asked him a lot of questions, and he, I don't know, unless he just keeps a really straight face and just acts like he doesn't know what's going on. But I don't know. We'll just leave it at that. I mean, I really believe that there's things happening at a higher level. I mean, they were involved all throughout thousands of years of history, back through the Templars, and they started banking. The Templars did. So, just, I've looked at a lot of information. I think I'll do some videos on some other stuff. I mean, here you go here, Babylon's Banksters, The Alchemy of Deep Physics, High Finance, and Ancient Religion. So this ties together, this is some interesting stuff right here, if you've never seen this book, by Joseph Farrell. This is really interesting. So anyway, I kind of went overboard on this video. I was just going to be asking you to say your wake-up process, but I think this is all connected in trying to understand what's going on. And I've had something in me my whole life, and it's really come out as I've gotten older, where I want to know, when I was a teenager, I was reading all about physics and the universe, and can't think of his name right now. One of the greatest theoretical physicists ever, Hawking. I was reading Hawking books, and I don't know if I have those over there. Probably do. I don't know. One of these days I'll have a big library, hopefully, of all the books from all the research. But I've always wanted to understand kind of a theory of everything, which he talks about, which I know is kind of far out there and probably hard to understand, but it's really interesting. I've heard Eustace Mullins say, and probably listened to like 40, 50 interviews of his. He said that everything, you see the same names over and over again when you're researching all this different stuff. Everything's tied together, and it all goes back. He wrote The Curse of Canaan, which goes back to when, the biblical story of. So anyway, maybe I'll talk more about him at another time. And I guess this has gone on long enough, so I'll talk to you all soon, and maybe I'll come out with a different type of video, something I haven't really touched on much. I mean, I did do a video on humans linked to gold and aliens. That was fairly well received. The Zecharia Sitchin's whole story about the Sumerians and their story of their history from the Sumerian tablets. But anyway, I'll talk to you all soon. Take care.